Live from San Diego, California, this is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans, with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eitzmo, and Mike Maciejewski. We're talking Chargers, Padres, and Aztec sports. It's time to let your voice be heard.
Me more than anything, you know. Try to get emotional, man, but that's it.
Now it's about, adding some more pieces, developing the players we have. We've built a really strong foundation here.
Take advantage of this. Not a lot of people can play this game at this level.
Another chance, huh? Another chance to be together and go out and play the best game in the world. Be great.
We won again. Let's go. Melvin Gordon. There it is, right there.
Be special to do.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
Play for each other and have as much fun as we can, all right?
Guys that'll play hard, guys that are tough, and guys that play together.
Starting the journey right now. 2015, San Diego Chargers. What are we going to be about?
Yeah.
Are you ready, guys? I am fired up for this football season.
Goosebumps, baby, goosebumps.
I got goosebumps after listening to that clip. This is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
This is our Week 1 pregame show, Chargers versus Lions. Jason, I'm extremely, extremely excited to finally be talking about real Chargers football.
Oh, my gosh. Finally. Just, we've been trying to find stuff to talk about for so long, and talking about the off-season stuff is fun and kind of interesting, but there's nothing that gets your heart racing and just gets your adrenaline going like Week 1, and my heart starts beating, and I got up this morning at 4 like it was Christmas, and I was a kid. I'm just so excited for the season to start.
I am too. That audio courtesy of Chargers.com. Guys, this is our weekly pregame show. We're going to be here every Sunday between 9 and 10 a.m. to break down the Chargers matchup. You can also join us every Wednesday at 7 o'clock where we'll go over, the matchup from the previous week.
Yeah. And
kind of lay down, what happened in that previous matchup. Quick thought here, go to SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com and pick up a One Before I Die t-shirt benefiting Big Brothers and Big Sisters of San Diego County. So, Jason, Week 1 is here.
Oh, my gosh.
Obviously, we got a big matchup. The Lions in town. They got a very potent offense. And one thing I didn't realize, and we'll go into this a little bit more in the second half of the show, is they have a pretty stout defense. I didn't realize that last year they were number 1 against the run. Granted, they did lose some pieces.
Yeah.
But tough task for the Chargers offense.
Well, I'm wondering if possibly the reason why they were so good against the run was because they had Sue and Fairley up there on the defensive line. I think that would make most defensive lines instantly top 10, and they lost both of those guys. They brought in Haloti Nata, try saying that, and I know he's been fighting a hamstring injury during the preseason. He is certainly a good defensive lineman and a lineman I would have loved for the Chargers to maybe try and bring in, but they're kind of trying to replace 2 with 1,
right?
And I'm not sure. Of course, there's other players out there, but those guys are really, really high-end defensive linemen, and they lost both of them. So,
well, Nada's he's kind of long in the tooth, but he knows how to play football, and he's going to be, he knows that offenses are going to try to game plan around him. But he knows where to be. He knows how to make plays. So, you can't count him out at all
right.
Going into this matchup. Let's break down a little bit of the current injury report, and as things update or change throughout the show, we'll go ahead and bring that to your attention. But currently, we're for sure without Torek Williams and Johnny Troutman, as everybody knows. Craig Mager, hamstring injury, he is questionable. He did have limited practice throughout the week. Jerry Atauchu as well, hamstring, limited practice throughout the week. He is questionable. And Ladarius Green, he suffered a concussion. Wasn't available at all on Wednesday. Did not practice on Thursday, and he was a full participant on Friday. He is listed as questionable. On the Detroit side of the ball, probably one of their best defensive players, and DeAndre Levy, the linebacker, is having a hip issue. He did not practice all week. He is doubtful.
He's out. I heard he's out, but they put that on there. But I heard that he's going to be out.
Yeah. They have a couple, guards and tackles that are out or questionable. Their tight end, Eric Ebron, who's actually, a pretty talented guy, has an ankle injury. He was limited, but he's full participant the last 2 days of practice. So chances are he's going to be out there on the field. Listening to any of those names, whether it's for the Chargers or Detroit, any of those that concern you one way or the other.
Let's go back up through the Chargers here. Let's go. Torek Williams, we knew was going to be out.
Right.
Johnny Troutman is going to be out. Torek Williams is he's a huge contributor on special teams. Johnny Troutman was going to probably be a backup anyways. So both of those, of course, you want everybody to be healthy, but we could deal with that. Craig Mager, started out real slow in the preseason. Towards the end was playing solid, but him being out, to be honest with you, game one, not going to be a huge issue. Who knows if he would have even been active anyways. Jerry Atauchu, now that one's going to be interesting because with Atauchu, out, it's going to be a lot like last season because he fought injuries pretty much all last season.
Right.
And I it's way too early to compare him to, let's say, Larry English or something like
right.
that,
right.
because it's only season 2. Let's see what happens. But I'll be honest with you, if it's a hamstring injury and it's something that they're not sure about, I know it was only preseason, but Kyle Emanuel played so good in the preseason. I think I'd rather go with him
right.
and let Atauchu get a little bit healthier. What do you think about that?
I love Kyle Emanuel. I think the guy's a flat-out stud. He's obviously underrated. He was drafted, late. But the guy has been nothing but a stud ever since he showed up. He's making big plays. He's always leading, or up towards the lead in tackles. Granted, it is preseason, but the guy has shown me every reason to be very comfortable with him being out there as the starter as the outside linebacker.
Yeah. Now, like we said before, it was in the preseason. You never know, but I agree. I'm comfortable with him. He looks like he. It looks like the game in the preseason. It looked like the game was not too big for him. Sometimes rookies come in and the game's a little bit big for them.
Right.
And then the real one, name that's been on everybody's mind, basically for the last couple months after the whole Gates suspension came down, and that's Ladarius Green. Your boy Ladarius Green. What do you? I'll ask you first. What are your thoughts on, first of all, whether or not he will play, and if he can't play, how bad is that going to hurt us?
Well, obviously, if he can't play, it's going to be huge offensively. Obviously, they re-signed Phillips. Great blocking tight end, but really not known for his catching abilities per se. Ladarius Green is our one true tight end weapon out there with his ability to stretch the field, his route running abilities. He has played with Phillip Rivers over the last couple of years, so they have a familiarity between each other. The other tight ends that we have as backups, they're more, for the running game. They're in there to open up, running lanes. They're up there to do blocking. They're not so much for the passing game. So it's going to be a huge factor, I think, if Ladarius Green isn't available.
Yeah, David Johnson, if he catches more than 5 passes this year, we'd be surprised.
Right.
John Phillips, of course, we've seen he can catch the ball, but, he's... for crying out loud, they released him, and then they had to bring him back. And then Kyle Miller, of course, I think he led the team in receptions in the preseason, or at least led the linebackers. But ultimately, this is the real deal. The one thing I'll say about Ladarius Green, if he's not 100%, I don't know, because last year he barely showed up. It seemed like for a lot of the games, so it's going to be interesting. I know.
Well, that's because I put him out there as my hero each and every week, so that's why he didn't show up.
Yeah, you really screwed him.
But somebody that can pick it up a little bit for him is going to be Stevie Johnson. I think that slot receiver is going to be huge for us today. Whether Ladarius Green is out there or not, I think Stevie Johnson is going to be a big reason why this offense is successful.
Yeah, I agree. And another guy that that we'll be talking about when we break down the offense is Danny Woodhead coming back to the team this year too. It's like bringing in another free agent. One thing Hal in the chat room says is with no Green or Gates, he feels that's a really big loss because the league has really turned into you get a lot of production out of your tight ends. A lot of successful teams get a lot of production out of their tight ends, and without Green or Gates, it's hard to see. Now, who knows? You never know. Game by game, maybe John Phillips catches 8 passes for 100 yards. You never know.
Right.
But without a playmaker at tight end, it's hard to see. Darren asked a question. I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. He just said, "Is he really?" And
I think he's talking about Ladarius Green and the facts of my comments about him being like our one, main weapon, and the fact that he can stretch the field and has great hands.
Okay.
I think he's in disagreement because, he did show a lot of excitement in his rookie year, but last year he battled injuries. He wasn't on the same page with Phillip Rivers a lot. So I think that's where Darren's coming from.
And it's actually a good question because we always talk about the potential. We talk about this a lot when we talk about Padres as well.
Right.
Potential versus what we get from production. And Green teased us a few years ago, showing us what he could do. But we're all really disappointed on how last year went down. And maybe last year for him was because Gates had such a good year. He didn't have a chance to get out on the field. Who knows why? It's put up or shut up time for Green, I think, this season, and especially the first games of the year. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with Justin's comment right there. Green just needs to be available. Whether he is out there as a decoy or whatever it may be, Green just needs to be out there because I think our offense will struggle a little bit without having that tight end threat. Yeah. Because then they can just clamp down on Malcolm Floyd and wow, first show and I'm already forgetting our other wideout.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, thank you. The defense can focus on those two weapons. You're taking another weapon out of the fold, which is going to hurt us. And we were kind of fearful going into this the beginning of this year without Gates. The first 4 games, what's going to happen at the tight end position? Who's going to step up and be in that role? What Gates brings to the table, even at a minimal snap count. Gates is a weapon. He's a huge weapon on third downs. He's a huge weapon in the end zone. And, without Green out there, who's it going to be? And I think we'll tell you a little bit more. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to talk more about the offense. So stay tuned. San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
Offense, just after the break. This is Josh and Mikey from the San Diego Sports Junkies. We are teaming up with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of San Diego County to make a difference in kids' lives.
In 2014, Big Brothers, Big Sisters provided more than 1,700 children with supportive Christian relationships that created a positive change in their lives.
This year, our goal is to make a difference by giving more than 1,800 children a Big Brother or a Big Sister.
You can do your part by going to SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com and purchasing one of our One Before I Die t-shirts, where we will donate 20% of every purchase to each great cause.
For more information on how you can become a Big Brother or Big Sister, visit sdbig.org and help the San Diego Sports Junkies make a difference in a child's life today.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
You know we're shooting for number 1.
right, guys, we are back.
It's so nice to be able to play that song again.
No offense. I mean, I love the song. It's iconic, but I'm ready for a newer age version of the song.
It is a little cheesy, but, you know, I don't know why. I like it. I just
of course,
like it.
Because you're 42 and you're a man.
Yeah, there you go.
Darren made a quick point while we were on break. You know, with the Detroit Lions defensive line, we might be better off having a blocking tight end anyways out there. And I can agree to that statement because the running game is going to be a huge focus, and Phillip Rivers staying upright is going to be a huge focus going into this game.
I agree, actually, and another thing, you know, now that we're actually moved on to the offense, talking about the offense, one of the problems that we had last season was the offensive line, and with the offensive line playing so poorly, we needed to keep our tight ends a lot in and block because they were just doing such a poor job. Now, this season, we have a completely revamped offensive line. King Dunlap is back, of course, at left tackle, but we brought in Orlando Franklin, who, let's be honest, in the preseason, we didn't see him that much, really. Right. Chris Watt is the full-time center now, which is going to be interesting. You know, my personal preference is him at guard, but you know he's playing center right now. DJ Fluker has now moved from right tackle to right guard, and we brought over Joe Barksdale. These 5 guys haven't played that much together in the preseason, and when they did, I don't know. I think this jury's still out, so it's going to be interesting, and we might need some blocking tight ends in there to help them a little bit. They might struggle a little bit at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I was listening to Phillip Rivers, you know, early on in the preseason. He was talking about this offensive line and how excited he is because of how big they are. And
yes, they are big, that's for sure.
How they're going to be able to, you know, control the pocket, how they're going to be able to control the running game. But he said, you know, they're going to be good at the beginning of the year, but at the end of the year, they're going to be great. And basically, you know, rolling off of what you just said, you know, it's going to take some time for them to be a cohesive unit, but they're big and nasty, and I'm really excited to see what the offense can do behind a quality offensive line.
I agree. I think that it is going to be interesting. And now, what do you think? You know, you talk about the identity of a football team. Now, it's only week 1. You're not going to, you know, and the identity of a football team kind of shifts throughout the year. We've seen that with the Chargers before.
Right.
Week 1 against the Lions, what is the identity going to be? Are they going to come out and they're going to try and pound the rock? Are they going to come out and they're going to throw a lot of short passes? Are they going to come out? Are they going to try and hit them deep? Are they going to try ball control? Are they going to try spread? What is your thoughts on what the Chargers will or what they should do?
Well, as far as the Chargers are concerned, they're going to want to control the clock. That's been their MO for the McCoy era, is controlling the clock, time of possession. So I think you're going to see a lot of slant patterns. I think you're going to see them try to establish the run early. If they can get the running game going early, it's only going to open up the passing game. But Stevie Johnson, and I hate to be a broken record, I think he's going to be a huge part of this offense today because of, you know, the potential lack of production from the tight end position. But also we need to talk about Danny Woodhead, somebody that we missed all of last year. You know, Danny Woodhead was injured early on in the season, and it showed through the rest of the season. We had a lot of issues, you know, in pass blocking. We had a lot of issues in the running game and on third downs, you know, with that Danny Woodhead, and then, you know, short yardage to gain to get into the end zone. Danny Woodhead is just a pro's pro. He knows where to be. He knows what to do. Phillip Rivers doesn't have to worry about him at all. And
right.
A lot of, you know, watching a lot of the shows this morning, you know, not that they were knocking on Melvin Gordon, but they said that Danny Woodhead is going to be a big factor in this game because Phillip Rivers is so comfortable with his production.
I agree. And I keep saying it. Danny Woodhead come back is like bringing in another high-end free agent. I think that the offense is completely different with Danny Woodhead on the field, and it's not even the plays that he makes. It's the fact that he's out there. The other team has to worry about what he's going to do, whether he's staying in and he's pass blocking, whether he's, you know, running a draw, whether he's, you know, out there, you know, catching a pass out of the backfield. The problem is when we have other guys go down, when we have other offensive running backs go down,
right,
and they make him the only guy, that's when we have a little bit more trouble with him. That's where he's not as successful, when he has to be the everyday, you know, running.
Well, like Justin says in the chat room, you know, getting Danny Woodhead back, it's like gaining a huge, you know, free agent pickup. Looks like we got our phone lines lit up here. SoCal Trav joining the conversation. What's up, SoCal Trav?
Gentlemen, it is upon us today.
It is.
We're so
it
excited.
is upon us.
We're so excited. So during this segment, we are talking Chargers on offense. Who do you think is going to be your key to the Chargers being successful this year on the offensive side?
I'd say at least for the first 4 weeks, I think it's going to be a combination of a couple fellas. I think Brandon Oliver is going to tear things up. I know everybody's high on Woodhead, and trust me, so am I. I think, like you guys have said, Woodhead's like a free gift, free agent to us coming back. But I think Brandon Oliver is going to shock a lot of people this year. And I think it's going to be a mix, actually, between Stevie Johnson and Mr. 100. I think Mr. 100 is going to see some snaps this season due to the fact that Gates is out. Ladarius Green, I think they're going to bring him in and play him on the offensive side of the ball.
Let me ask you this real quickly, and we're going to get a prediction from you. We're going to make this short because we have a lot of stuff to get to this morning. But first of all, why Mr. 100? I see you call him Mr. 100 all the time, and I'm not sure what that means.
He has the record for the longest kickoff return in NFL history.
Oh, okay. All right. So hopefully he breaks
he
that
returned
this
it
year.
for like 100, I think it was 107 yards, so they call him Mr. 100.
So I'd like to see 108 yard this year. And then real quickly, what's your prediction for the final score before we let you go and your player of the game?
Final score, I think it's going to be 33-17 Bolts. And I'm going to say player of the game is actually going to be Brandon Oliver.
Brandon Oliver.
Interesting.
Nice.
Great, to have you call in, SoCal. As we have a 1 hour show today, we do keep the phone calls short to allow other people to call in and give us their predictions and take, but we appreciate you calling the show, and go Bolts.
Go Bolts, and I've got tickets for all 7 remaining home games, guys, so let me know.
Oh,
right
cool.
on, brother.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, see you guys.
All right.
See you.
So Brandon Oliver, it's a name that we can't go without speaking of. I like his, prediction as far as the score is concerned, but I think Brandon Oliver is going to play a big role in this game. I think he's going to share some time, behind center and behind Phillip Rivers in this offense.
Another thing that Hal brings up in the chat room, it's nice to have Hal joining us live. It's been a while since I've seen him live. I love
he has a beautiful face, yes.
He sure does. Is he thinks the first few games this season, the Chargers are going to be trying to find their identity as a football team. And I think that that's actually a good point, is the fact that maybe we're not going to come in and really do one thing really good. I think that they're going to be kind of trying a lot of different things. I'm really hoping for some reason I've had this thought, this thought that we're going to come out and we're going to rush the ball for over 100 yards this game.
Right.
We're just going to be able to move them offensively, and we're going to run the ball, and Gordon's going to come in and actually have a pretty big game, for his first game of his career. I got nothing to base that on except just a gut feeling,
Yeah, I think, I know I'm excited to see Melvin Gordon out there and see really what he is capable of. You're going to have the first team, O-line that we've been raving about early on the show in front of him. You're going to have Danny Woodhead out there to help him at times. I'm really excited to see what he can do because, I did watch him from time to time in his collegiate years, and once that guy gets through that first or second wave, he has the wheels to just break it loose. And that's what I'm going to be excited to see, if they can open up holes, get him into that second, level, let him make a guy miss, and really see what this guy can do.
Another couple things on offense that we haven't even spoken about this year is, you mentioned Keenan Allen a little bit earlier today. I think I think that they've talked about how much better he's looked. The little bit we saw him in the preseason, I was real happy with what I saw from him. Another person that's kind of being almost forgotten right now is Malcolm Floyd.
Yes.
And Malcolm Floyd is going to most likely be the number 3 wide receiver behind, Stevie Johnson, who's starting. I think that they're going to be doing a little bit of flip-flopping, but Malcolm Floyd has gotten a lot of big catches for us, and to have remember when he was our number 1, now we have him as our number 3. He missed that whole season, so he might not be as as old as his actual age shows.
I don't know if I'd call him a number 3, though. I think he's still the number 2. I think Stevie Johnson's going to be our number 3, but I know what you mean, Jason. He's the guy that can stretch the field. He's a big target.
Though.
You know, Phillip Rivers always likes throwing up the ball to the big guys and letting them come down with it. And the nice thing about the way the offense is set up, you know, similar to last year with Eddie Royal, you know, Stevie Johnson is going to get those dinks and dunks and open up the passing game. And same with Keenan Allen. But, you know, Malcolm Floyd, he's a guy that, you know, when they're focusing on Stevie Johnson or Keenan Allen, all of a sudden Malcolm Floyd is 20, 30 yards down the field and Phillip Rivers is airing the ball out to him. I think a lot of our deep threats is going to come from Malcolm Floyd.
Yeah, and the little bit that we saw in the preseason when he goes out stretching the field like that, Stevie Johnson running across the field looked like he was damn near uncoverable.
Right.
So the group of wide receivers I'm really excited about. The group of blocking, you know, offensive linemen I'm really excited about. The group of running backs I'm really excited about. The quarterback I'm really excited about. The tight ends I'm just, you know, as everybody else, I'm just a little bit worried that we're putting a lot of eggs in the Darius Green basket.
But let's not forget too, we had a tougher schedule last year, a lot of injuries, and we finished 9-7 with so much that we had to work against. I mean, you lose Danny Woodhead, you lose Keenan Allen, you go through like 5 starting centers.
Yeah.
Your whole offensive line was just, you know, a mismatch every week, and this offense still was prolific. They still put up a ton of points, and they managed a winning record when it was all said and done, was on the verge of getting in the playoffs again. Now you have a completely healthy, you know, offense coming into, you know, week 1. You have arguably a free agent in Danny Woodhead back. You got Stevie Johnson coming into the fold. You got Jacoby Jones that can, you know, be in the mix. Aside from the tight end position, I think we're perfectly fine, and I think this offense is going to be prolific.
Now, Jacoby Jones, do you see him making a lot of contributions? We're not talking about the whole season now. I'm just talking about today. Do you see Jacoby Jones making any contributions offensively, or do you see him mostly on special teams today?
I see him mostly on special teams, but he's going to make a contribution offensively. He's going to give, you know, Keenan Allen and Stevie Johnson, he's going to give them breathers from time to time. And he's another guy that can stretch the field. The guy's got, you know, he's arguably one of the fastest guys on our team. And he's another big target. So he's somebody that can stretch the field. And I think you will see him, I'm going to say 8 to 10 snaps offensively throughout the game.
I'd like to see that because I know that he was pretty quiet in the preseason as well. Some people wanted to maybe think about the Chargers releasing him. I'd like to see him come out and do something there.
Guys, we're going to take another quick break. It's time to shift our focus over to the Chargers defense and the reason why we're going to win this game. And Justin Smead will also be calling in to give us his take on this vaunted Chargers defense. So stay tight. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
The West Coast is back, better respect the name. It's the San Diego Chargers, feel the lightning bang. Kill the hype, we reign, SB running this game. This is 619 straight, born and raised. This ain't no fad or phase, this is Cali for life. We gon' rally tonight, so pump your fist till you get it right. And keep it real so all the day go can feel you buffing out. Sing the anthem so the whole world can hear you.
Do you need help with your business project that is due? Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger project, SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
All right, guys, we are back, and it's time to talk some defensive football. And we got one of our masterminds, the third part of the San Diego Sports Junkies, and Justin Smead on the phone. What's up, Smeader?
Did you just say mastermind?
Yes, you are the football mastermind. You are the John Madden of the San Diego Sports Junkies.
that was great, man. That was a great introduction. You just keep that up, all right?
What's up, man?
What's up, dude? I can't believe I got through. I mean, the lines have been packed.
Yeah.
You guys are hard to get to.
Well, thanks for brown nosing. You know that's not true, but.
So now we're flipping. We talked offense. We're flipping to the defense. What do we need to be looking for when the Chargers are on defense? What do we have to be excited about, and what do we have to be worried about?
Okay. Well, first, you guys know it starts with the line. And we have to show consistency. I think all the guys we have in place, we have like 7 linemen that they're going to rotate. The Lissamores of the world, Mitch Unrein, Phylon. They're going to be rotating a lot, and Pagano's going to keep fresh bodies out there. I'm interested to see what kind of mix they're going to have together and what kind of pressure and push they're going to get up front, because that's going to free up Melvin Ingram and these linebackers to get after the quarterback. So that's the one thing I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing today is how they get that push on the line and try to get after Matthew Stafford, because if you let him sit back there, he'll pick you apart all day long. So have to get a little pressure today. Interested to see how the linebacking core, finally healthy, will gel together. What are your guys' thoughts on that? For me, the linebacking core is a huge cog in this part of this defense, and being a 3-4. But like I said, it starts with that front 3 guys. We really got to get a little push.
Well, I like the fact that you brought up the rotation, and right now listed as the starters are Kendall Reyes, Sean Lissamore, and Corey Liuget. Now, if you go through all the defensive linemen, we got those guys. We got Darius Phylon, Ryan Carruthers, Ricardo Matthews, and Mitch Unrein. Now, if you take Corey Liuget out of that list, the rest of those guys, there's from the best to the worst.
Little concern.
Well, if you think about it, though, from the best to the worst, there's really not a whole lot different. They're all about the same in terms of talent to me.
Right.
And I think overall defensive line, the talent is we might not have a lot of flash, but we don't have a lot of crap either. They're all just kind of middle of the road. And if we can get a constant rotation, a guy like Ricardo Matthews or a guy like Darius Phylon are going to make a play every once in a while. And Liuget, of course, we know what he can do already, so we have high expectations from him. But the rest of these guys, if we can just get a play here or there from one of them, I think we're going to be set. I'm actually not as concerned about the defensive line as I was before the season started.
Yeah,
totally.
I agree with what Jason's saying, and the fact that watching in the preseason. Granted, it's the preseason, and I know we talk about that. It doesn't matter, but the linebacking core. Because of the defensive line, was able to get a good push and get to the quarterback on numerous occasions, and that's one thing that we lacked. We were 29th in sacks last year. That's something that has to improve if this defense is going to get to the next level. I think we finished 9th or 10th overall last year. The secondary was great. I think they're going to be as good, if not better, this year. But it's the linebacking core and the defensive line that needs to collapse that pocket, needs to knock Stafford off the spot. Because, in the NFL, everything's about timing, and they need to hit him early and often.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's for a reason there's not a starting defensive tackle on this team. That's for a reason, because nobody can fill that role. There is, like we always say, there's no Jamal Williams here that's going to play every down. Pagano and crew feel that the best way to get the most out of this defensive line is to rotate, because like Jason hit on, each one of these guys has a special characteristic. I think as you get them reps and a nice rotation, and they're going to be fresh, you're going to see some good plays and flashes here and there. This is the best way to get the most out of its defensive line, and I think they're all just hard workers and gritty football players, and I do enjoy what I've been seeing out of the line.
Let's talk about the linebackers a little bit more. Justin, obviously, Jerry Tauchu battling a little hamstring. He was a mild participant, and he is questionable for this game. Assuming he can't go or is limited, do we see Kyle Emanuel or do we see Cordero Law stepping up on that outside linebacker role?
Well, just judging on the preseason, I think you see Kyle Emanuel. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. He hasn't shown that he struggles with any of the concepts on the defensive side. I don't go into X's and O's like, maybe Jake Hefner would, but I can tell he doesn't look lost out there, and he makes plays. And I would not see any reason why he wouldn't be out there. He'd be a perfect fill-in, and what a game to, first, NFL debut, go out there maybe as a starting linebacker. How amazing would that be? The kid just has it to me. I think he makes all the reads, and it's funny we talk about him. We put Denzel Perryman on the back burner, not because Denzel Perryman sucks or anything. He just hasn't grasped the defense as quickly as Emmanuel has, and I think Emmanuel's that type of player to take over for Atauchi. I really do.
Yeah, also I think Perryman playing middle linebacker, I think that they're asked to do a little bit more, so it's a little bit of a tougher position to grasp. I agree with you about Kyle Emmanuel. I think that we're going to see if Atauchi can't go, we're going to see a rotation of Cordero Law and Kyle Emmanuel. Probably Cordero Law more on the running downs and Emmanuel more on the passing downs. But that doesn't mean either one of them can't play the other. Kyle Emmanuel, we saw him set the edge. We saw him play the run really well. And as a matter of fact, even with Atauchi in there, I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Emmanuel and Cordero Law, spelling him because he does have that injury. He didn't play that much in the preseason, so he doesn't going to have his wind there. But all in all, I think that we're going to be okay there. What do you think on the other side of the line, outside linebacker wise, Melvin Ingram? He sucks, huh?
No, not with that spin move. He doesn't. Like I touched on earlier, and you guys know this. I don't have to tell you guys. You guys watch the games too. This front line needs to just get in their gaps, so a guy like Melvin Ingram can be freed up one-on-one with a tackle, and he can put pressure on the edge. If the guys up front do their job, it'll make it a lot easier for Donald Butler and company to get through there. And as Pagano does so many times, he disguises his blitzes so well. He'll send two, he'll drop two into coverage, but you don't know where it's coming from, and that's the beauty of it. And if Melvin Ingram can get one-on-one matchups on these tackles from any direction, we might see a couple sacks today, guys. And the way he's looked in the preseason, I wouldn't doubt if he had a couple.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm basically got the sentiments of Hal here. He says, I'm excited about the speed of the defensive core. They are fast and speed kills, and I totally agree. We did get younger, obviously, through the off season, getting rid of Jarrett Johnson and hashtag Spinaroonie and Mr. Freeney. Yeah. But, we got a lot younger and a lot faster. And, you've seen even, I hate to say Denver, it sounds like word vomit, but how fast their defense is. They really get after it, and the speed kills. So I'm really excited about this defense as a whole, the secondary, the linebacking core. I think if, with Mike Nolan, that's probably the biggest free agent pickup we had all season long, having him in addition to the defense. This defense could be really, really scary as the season goes on.
Yeah, let's switch over to the secondary. For me, these guys, a healthy Brandon Flowers and a healthy Jason Verrett, what a difference that makes, huh? Now you have a Golden Tate and a Calvin Johnson today. They're target monsters, if you're a fan. And if you're a fantasy football player, you have a Golden Tate and a Calvin Johnson on your team for a reason. Golden Tate, they move around all over the place. He'll come in motion and go on reverse plays. He'll sit up in the slot. He'll be on the outside. They have to have a guy like Jason Verrett on him at all times, or a Flowers, depending on the matchup. They have to communicate today, because if that safety help from Adai or via Jimmy Wilson, whoever's in there in that package, with Weddle too, if they don't communicate, they will get burned, and they will get burned often by Calvin Johnson, because you leave him one-on-one, he will beat you all day long.
Yeah, another thing about Calvin Johnson is his size, and that's one thing that defensively in the backfield we do not have. Are you concerned about the size? And it sounds to me like you say that they're going to have to put two guys on him at once. Does his size concern you?
It doesn't, because of the athletic ability of Flowers and Verrett. I know Verrett, he gets towered over by Calvin Johnson, but with his jumping ability, his speed and recovery, I'm not saying he's going to defend every pass, but he's going to limit things. He can get back to the ball. His recovery speed's fine. He's a NFL starter for a reason, and this is a huge test for him today. Look for a lot of bubble zone reads off the linebackers. Don't see as much. I think we see a lot of pressure in the beginning of the game, and towards the tail end, watch a lot of linebackers drop into coverage to kind of help out a corner on those, curl routes and stuff like that. They need to find help against this Detroit Lions team because they are loaded. I mean, loaded on offense. So any way you can stop them or slow them down will be key today.
Yeah, I think the help, like you mentioned, between Eric Weddle and Adai is going to be huge today. Absolutely huge. Not only in slowing down their rookie running back as well, Amir
Abdullah.
Thank you.
Abdullah, yeah.
Joyke
Bell.
The safeties are going to be huge today as far as stopping this vaunted offense. The Lions have a ton of weapons, just like the Chargers. So this game may come down to which defense plays better. I mean, ultimately, may come down to which defense can make the most plays, can cause the most turnovers, will determine who's victorious.
Now, one thing that we saw in the preseason when all the starters was out there, in my opinion, we got pushed around a little bit in the running game, and now that we're talking about Abdullah and Joyke Bell, do you have any concerns of us stopping the run, not giving them 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, holding them to 2nd down and 8 and 3rd down and 7, that type of thing?
Yeah, and we hit on it earlier. This defense didn't really change much, right, guys? I mean, I think we're a bend but don't break defense, and I hate to say it that way. I think we're going to make our plays, at times and flash some greatness, but we really didn't see our full complement of players either on the field at the same time in the preseason. There wasn't, I don't think, any preseason game we had everybody that we needed that we're going to have today on the field. So, I look at it this way: you have to stop the run in this league. But what did we do last year? We got gashed at times, but then when it was 4th and 1s, 3rd and shorts, goal line stands, we really manned up and brought the noise. And I think they're going to be that type of defense again. And I hope they don't give up too many big plays. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, like Darren said, Stafford's going to try to force some balls, and Flowers is going to be there to pick it. So, Justin, before we go to break again, it's that time, my friend. You're going to have to give us a prediction, and who's your player of the game?
Well, it's going to be 30-27. I think there's a lot of points scored today, and it's going to be on that Josh Lambo foot of his, and it's just going to be so ironic. He's going to march out with 10 seconds left or whatever's on the clock and drill that thing like he's supposed to be here, and everybody's going to be a little more quiet about Josh Lambo.
Darren in the chat room, he wants to know how about Lambo. You know he's going to have some doo-doo running down his leg on his first attempt. Hello? All right. Well, I think
there he is.
All I hear is music.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. We're trying a new system there. Is that better?
So Darren's question was, how about Josh Lambo? You know he's going to have some doo-doo running down his leg on his first attempt.
You know what, though? I mean, it's so much different. It has to be. The energy level in a real football game when the stands are full, 65,000 people. Maybe we don't know this kid. Maybe he's got ice running through his veins. He sure seemed like it in the preseason. Every challenge he was presented, he made it. So we'll see. We'll see. As long as he keeps the same attitude and confidence about himself, I think he's just fine, man. I think he's going to be fine. Until he starts missing kicks, we can't really judge him yet.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I hate people who, I think it's a little too early to start hating on somebody before he's even kicked one kick. And the best thing
I always say, everybody has to be a rookie at some point, right?
Exactly. And the best thing that could happen to him is him come out, knock a few kicks down in the first few weeks, and then there'll be no more chatter about that, and we just move on with our season.
Exactly.
All right, Smeeter, well, go have a cold one for me, and go Bolts.
All right, guys, you keep in touch with yourself.
We will.
Talk to you later.
All right.
Later, dude.
Bye.
All right, guys, we're going to take another break. When we come back, it's prediction time. It's the hour that you need to present your predictions, your players of the game, you people in the chat room. We can open up that phone line, 619-866-4567, if you want to call in and give us your prediction. make it quick. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll hear all your predictions next.
Superchargers, there's nobody that goes harder. Blue and yellow thunderbolts, we ain't gonna wait much longer. Bringing home the Super Bowl ring to the city. That's our mission, my man, so they gotta give it to me, yeah. All around the league, everybody feels coming here. That's for good reason, we the bomb.com. So long, San Diego, we the home of the
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSB.com.
We gon' hang us another banner.
We are the champions,
San Diego Superchargers.
we are the champions.
I like the ring of that song. We are the champions, my friends. San Diego Superchargers.
Absolutely.
It is prediction time, fellas. This is, where gamblers like to make their mark. And I know Darren is got to have, some prediction to say in the chat room. But I'm gonna give it to you, Jason. First, I'm gonna let you make that bold prediction for this week's matchup.
All right. Well, I got. I think that it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than Justin has it. I think that our running game is going to be on point. I think we're going to control the game. We're going to control the ball. We're going to get over 100 yards rushing. I think we're going to get a big game from Melvin Ingram. I think we're going to get 2 or 3 sacks out of him. First game. I think that the defensive line is going to do their job and clog it up so he can get in there and make a sack. I got the Chargers winning 24-20 with my player of the game being Melvin Ingram.
I'm pretty close to on par with you, Jason. I got the Chargers winning 26-20. I think the player of the game is going to be Stevie Johnson. I know I've talked about him a lot, but I really believe that this is going to be a huge weapon for Phillip Rivers and the Chargers this year. I mean, they're already on the same page. You can see it in the preseason. They're on point. Stevie Johnson has a way to break ankles and get big chunks of yardage. So I'm looking for him to be somewhere around 7 catches, 80 yards. He's going to get a touchdown, and the Chargers are going to pull out the victory today.
Now, Justin, like we just heard him in the last segment, he has the Chargers winning 30-27 with Josh Lambo being the player of the game, kicking the winning field goal.
I like it.
Darren has Josh Lambo having doo-doo running down his leg before his first kick.
As long as it goes through the uprights, I don't care what's running down his leg.
And I don't think Darren does either. Darren's not talking about ability; he's talking about nerves.
Right.
And if for those of you who listened or didn't listen last Wednesday when we had Jake on, Jake has the Chargers winning 21-17. He has a really low-scoring game, and he has the player of the game being Danny Woodhead. So that'd be a big welcome back, Danny Woodhead. And then Travis, of course, called in. He's got the Chargers winning 33-17, and Brandon Oliver. That's an interesting pick. Brandon Oliver being the player of the game.
Danny Woodhead is, what makes him great is not only his smartness about the game, knowing where to be, and making the proper adjustments, but also his size. Because he's a little undersized, he hides behind this big offensive line, and he finds the holes before people can see him.
Yes,
and I think that's what makes him dangerous in goal line situations, is because he's very, very hard to get an eye on. And, make a solid hit on him. He always seems to make guys miss. He always seems to find the holes and get positive yardage. So I think Danny Woodhead is a good call.
Now, what do you think about the defense overall? By the way, Darren says that he'll have doo-doo running down his leg as well. Now, I don't know if that is when Josh Lambo goes out to kick, or if that's just when the game gets ready to start. Just because we're all so excited and so nervous. So
we got Jeff with his prediction. He's got the Chargers winning 26-24 on a Josh Lambo field goal.
So we're going to put Lambo as his player of the game too.
Yeah, I think Lambo's going to be key because as much as I'd like to see the Chargers put it in the end zone every single time, it's not realistic for that to happen. I mean, the Chargers are going to have their issues. I mean, Detroit's got a good defense, and Lambeau's going to have to kick some through the uprights.
You know, now, speaking, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. One of the things that we talked about earlier, the last year and the year, you know, the most recent years, the Chargers defense has not been really the type of defense that gets a lot of turnovers. We get a few, but they're not really the playmaking, we get the turnovers defense. I think that's changing this year. I really think that's changing. I think with the new attitude that the linebackers have, I think with the health and the attitude that the secondary has, I think the overall strength of our D-line, not on an individual basis, but as a group, I think we have a chance to make some stuff happen this year. And I think that that we could be one of the teams, you know, that isn't in the top 10 of getting the turnovers.
I think we need to be.
Yeah.
I think this defense needs to help turn the ball over and get it back in Phillip Rivers in this offense because, you know, the offense is prolific, and if the defense can give the offense more opportunities, that just bodes well for this Chargers team and, you know, getting these W's, especially against, you know, a good team like Detroit. You know, turnovers are going to be key in today's matchup. And, you know, if we win the turnover battle and get the ball in Phillip Rivers' hands more often than not, you got to think it's got to be a W.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And one of the things moving, you know, back to offense, you know, we're kind of all over the place in our last segment is defensively, Glover Quinn had 7 interceptions last year from the safety position. And James, I always get this last name, even when he was with the Broncos, I couldn't get his last name. He had 4 interceptions, and Darius Slay had 17 passes defense from the cornerback position. They all had some big numbers last year, and I'm wondering if those numbers were a direct reflection of Nick Fairley and Ndamukong Suh up front, and with them not having them up front, I'm not sure they're going to be as successful in the secondary, and I think Rivers is going to have a much easier time picking them apart.
Well, we all know in the NFL, I mean, even if you're the, you know, bottom of the depth chart as far as wide receivers are concerned, you're still a very quality individual, and these cornerbacks can't chase you around forever. You're going to get wide open. So it's important that the front 7 can collapse that pocket, can get to the quarterback, because if you let the wide receivers run around, they're going to get open. And, you know, Matt Stafford, Phillip Rivers, they're going to find these open receivers and take advantage of the defense. So I do think that these guys missing from Detroit's defense is going to hurt their front 7. It's going to put a little more pressure on the secondary. And I'm all for it because I think we have some really, really good weapons in the passing game, and it's going to be interesting to see how we can exploit their secondary.
Now, do you think that, you know, one of the other things that the Chargers want to upgrade was special teams, and that's why they brought in Jacoby Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the special teams are going to have any basically, are they going to have any involvement in the outcome of the game? And I'm not talking about game-winning field goals and stuff like that. I'm talking about more when we kick off. Is Josh Lambeau going to get the ball out of the end zone or get the touchbacks? That's why they kept him. And is Jacoby Jones going to be able to return some balls? And is he going to get some good returns? Is he going to get some big punt returns? And the biggest key, I know it was only one time, but he did fumble one kickoff return. It went out of bounds. Does that worry you at all?
No. Mike Cyphers, Josh Lambeau, Jacoby Jones, they're going to be the biggest reason why the Chargers are in a good position to win every game this year. We know what Cyphers can do. He's a Pro Bowler. The guy's going to pin him inside the 10 religiously. He's done it year in and year out. He's healthy. Josh Lambeau, the whole reason that Nick Novak isn't here is because he couldn't kick the ball out of the end zone. Josh Lambeau can. So they're going to be starting on a long field a majority of the game today, God forbid turnovers. And then Jacoby Jones. There's one reason why we brought him here, and that's because he's a big threat on the kick returns. And he's going to get us big chunks of yardage and give Phillip Rivers the ball on the 30, the 35-yard line instead of the 18 or the 20 where we're used to seeing the Chargers start and having to go 78 to 80 yards, you know, to score a touchdown each and every time they get the ball.
Now, we're looking here for inactives, and I think it's just still too early. But one of the players that was on the injury report, Craig Mager, my guess is he's going to be inactive this game. see any possibility of the Chargers activating him, or do you think that he's going to be inactive? See, even if he is healthy, I would kind of assume that he would be one of the inactives. I know that we have Turek Williams and what's his name on the offensive line? Johnny Troutman definitely going to be inactive because they're both injured.
Right.
But do you see Craig Mager also being inactive even if he's healthy to go?
I'm wondering if Craig Mager is inactive because they brought John Phillips back, and they need that spot on the roster today. But one guy we haven't even talked about is Patrick Robinson.
Yes.
As far as the secondary is concerned, I mean, Craig Mager, obviously we drafted him this year. There's a lot to be excited about the kid. But Patrick Robinson is going to be a huge cog in that secondary, and somebody who's made plays in his career. And I'm excited to see what he can do out there. There were some guys last year, and I'm not going to name names because Jason is in love with one of them, and me and Justin was not. But I'm kind of glad to see a few different faces in the secondary because there were some guys last year that struggled, some guys that couldn't get their hands on the ball, and I'm hoping that's not the case this year. I mean, obviously, you know what the abilities of Brandon Flowers and Jason Verrett are. But Stevie Williams and Patrick Robinson are going to be huge because, Flowers and Verrett can't be out there every single snap.
Now, what about one other thing is, Jaleel Addae and Jimmy Wilson played real tight competition in spring in the preseason. Looks to me like Addae probably won that starting job, but it's going to be like a lot of things. It's going to flow. I'm wondering how many times for the nickel package we see Jaleel Addae and Jimmy Wilson both back there, and they kind of creep Eric Weddle up to safety. I know that they like to do that up to
put him
linebacker.
In the box.
Yeah,
put him in the box.
Run with three safeties. And have him replace a linebacker.
Well, for one, Jaleel Addae, love the guy. The guy seems to always make things happen. When you're talking about turnovers, if you remember last year, he was constantly knocking the ball loose last year. He's a guy that can make things happen. Same with Eric Weddle, another guy that can make things happen. And I think that's why they're your starting safeties. Nothing against Jimmy Wilson. He played great in the preseason. We know Darryl Stuckey is a very quality backup as well. And that's why I said I'm not as concerned about our secondary. I think our secondary has a step up on our front seven. That's just my opinion. I think there's a lot of talent there in the secondary. But, I don't want to take anything away from the linebacking core because they've showed me a lot during this preseason.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Week 1 football is finally here. Make sure everybody out there enjoy your very first football Sunday of the year. You only get 17 precious regular season Sundays, and believe me, they go by so fast. So
extremely.
Make sure everybody out there enjoys them. Have yourself a good time. Of course, the most important thing is go Bolts. And,
go Bolts.
Let's get ourselves a big victory.
Absolutely. SoCal Trav, thank you for taking the time to call in. Return of the Bad, Darren, Jeff in the chat room. We also want to thank Justin for taking some time out of his busy beer drinking to call in and talk some Chargers defense. As always, guys, this is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans. We'll be here every Sunday at 9 o'clock.
And every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Go Bolts!
Go Bolts!
Thank you for listening to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans. Brought to you by Cali Comfort, home of the low and slow barbecue, and SK Digital Imaging with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eidsmo, and Mike Maciejewski. Subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and on iTunes. Visit SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com for all your Chargers, Padres, and Aztecs news.